live, so I'm going to call it to order, and if we get David later, we'll note that. So I now call this meeting of the Bloomington Planning Commission to order. Can we please do roll call?
Mr. Stanczyk? Mr. Dannenberger?
Here.
Mr. Boyd? Mr. Mulick?
Here.
Mr. Krieger?
Here.
Mr. Moore?
Here.
Ms. McCann?
Here.
And Chairperson Hayden.
Here.
We have a quorum.
All right. At this time, we will accept public comments. Because this is being held virtually via live stream, public comments were accepted up until 15 minutes before the start of the meeting. Katie or Bob, do we have any public comments today?
Chairperson Hayden, nobody registered to speak with us, and no one has emailed any public comments. And I do not believe there is anybody here from the public to speak at City Hall.
All right, thank you, Katie. So that moves us to item 4, which is a review of the minutes of the July 22nd meeting. Does anyone have a motion or any corrections there?
I'll move to approve as presented.
Can we get a second?
I'll second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, minutes are adopted. So at this time, we'll move to item 5, which is our regular agenda. So that is item Z-12-20, a public hearing, review, and action on minor text amendments, modifications, and deletions to the Bloomington zoning ordinance, chapter 44 of the city code, submitted by the Bloomington City Council. Staff doesn't have a presentation, but Katie is going to pull up the table. And our ask is that if you have specific questions or discussion that you want to have about any of these changes, that we'll walk through those one by one. But our plan is not to walk through every change one by one, if that makes sense.
I'll make a motion that we accept the amendments as presented.
I will second.
Do you have any discussion on that? I didn't have anything that I took issue or umbrage with.
I guess procedural question. I do see there's finding of facts in here. Do we need to adopt the findings of fact first before we do that?
I think we do, Tyson or Commissioner Moore. And then also just, we did have one question. Staff was looking for clarification on one item from the board regarding the notice requirements. If I can, I will share my screen to pull that up for you, but are you able to see the table? Okay, so right now in Division 17, there is a the notification requirements, here we go, are a little unclear, and we were hoping to clarify. I think, you know, just the staff preference would be that the requirements align with what was in the 2006 zoning ordinance, where, you know, the city would publish newspaper notice at least 15 days in the pantograph, and then we would mail courtesy notices to all owners within 500 feet, and then post a sign on the property. The way it's worded now is a little confusing. Though in the current Division 17, it says that staff will publish notice 15 days in the newspaper, which is in accordance with the state statute, and then that we would also mail notice to all property owners within 500 feet, but it doesn't provide a specific timeline. So either, I guess our question for the Planning Commission is, would you like for us to do these as a courtesy, or would you like to provide a specific timeline that these mailing notices would go out? And I guess there's pros and cons to both. And we can discuss that if you'd like. But, one con could be that if, for whatever reason, if we go with this second revision where the notice is sent at least 15 days, but no more than 30, and there's an issue with the mail, it could postpone a case or delay it kind of unnecessarily. If it's a courtesy notice, then, if there is an issue with the mailing system or something, then that would not necessarily hold up any action because everything would still align with the state statute. And Bob, please feel free to jump in and offer any clarity or guidance, but or supplement what I'm saying. But in the state statute, the city is required to publish notice in the newspaper 15 days prior to the public hearing and no more than 30 days, and that is it.
So just to clarify,
Sorry, let me mute myself.
the specific question is around the language about courtesy or not. Okay, I would support using the courtesy language, continuing to use that. That makes sense to me.
I'm going to retract my motion.
Does anyone else have other comments about courtesy or required mailings?
I don't have any comments, but I think I like the courtesy option better.
I also agree with that as well.
Yeah, I think Katie's looking up to see what page, what item that is, so we can make a motion. So I think, do we have George yet? He didn't pipe up, so I don't think we have him. So the way that I'd read the need for the motion is that we'll do a finding of fact that we meet the standards. And then probably the clarification is the second motion to send this to council using revision 1 on whatever item this is.
So I will move then that we accept the findings of fact as presented.
Give a second.
Yep, I'll second.
Can we do roll call on that, please?
Was that Mr. Krieger?
Mulek, second.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. Mr. Dannenberger?
Sir, I was trying to second and I got beat.
Okay. This is for the approval of the findings of fact as presented by staff in the staff report.
Second.
Mr. Mulek?
Yes.
Yes. And Mr. Krieger?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. McCann?
Yes.
And just for clarity, the motion was seconded by Mr. Mulek. So Mr. Dannenberger, I didn't get your vote, yes or no, I'm sorry.
In favor.
Yeah. And then Chairperson Hayden.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
So then I think, and George, I think you're on the line, so you could clean us up on this one. But then I think the motion we need now is the recommendation to approve and send this to City Council for review with the additional amendment, revision 1. If you're looking at your packet, I'm looking at page 8 and 9.
I guess I do have one question. In communities that don't have a local newspaper, what do they do? Do they pick another newspaper that's distributed in the area, or how's that handled?
That's generally the case. It'd be a very rural community. They'd have a county newspaper at minimum.
Okay. Thank you.
And I guess I'm still waiting on a motion and a second for the action for city council recommendation with or without this clarification and revision.
Sorry, I think George is on the line and I'm not showing that he's muted. George, are you able to, oh, there. Okay. There we go.
Okay, yeah.
Hey,
I've been on for about 10 minutes, but not able to throw in my 2 cents, although it sounds like I'm showing up just in time for all the heavy lifting to be done.
That's how it goes for you, George.
Did you have a question though, Leah? I'm sorry.
I think
not Leah, I'm sorry, but Megan?
Yep, I think our question was, I think it's foregone. The ship has sailed on our question, I think. But if you want to give us any advice on how to phrase this motion, that would be appreciated. So we are looking at motion number 2 to send to City Council to adopt the first version of the text amendment revision. So if you want to give us any insight, then I think that would help the commissioner, someone make a motion.
Well, I think it's pretty clear. It's designating what the language is for it, and that's going to be involving, that's the one that makes it a courtesy notice. Is that correct?
Yes.
Can we just, for the record, Mr. Stanzik has joined us at 4:12 p.m.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to adopt the revisions as presented along with revision 1 in the packet titled Mailed Notices Are Courtesy.
I will second.
We get a roll call, please. Or any discussion on that?
I'd confirm that the language on that is clear.
Okay, thanks, George.
Mr. Dannenberger,
Yes, in favor.
Mr. Mueller,
Yes.
Mr. Krieger,
Yeah.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Ms. McCann,
Yes.
Mr. Stanzik,
Yes.
you arrived late, but
Yes.
yes. And Chairperson Hayden.
Yes. All right, that motion carries. So that is the end of our regular agenda, which moves us to item 6, which is old business, and we do not have any. So I will move to item 7, new business. None listed, but does anyone have any new business? All right, then that takes us to item 8, and I will accept a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, meeting adjourned. Thanks, everybody.
Thank y'all.
Thank you. Sorry for getting on late.
Your contributions were invaluable, George. Whatever time they happen.
You're too kind.